All right, and welcome back to Saturday Night Chit Chat with FREEKBASS. And man, I'm super excited to have this cat on. We met through a mutual friend of ours, the amazing Mr. Doug Wimbish, at a show that Doug was playing at, and we connected there and kind of been chirping back and forth here and there since then. And man, just an amazing drummer. I have so many questions to ask him about me being a bass player. Drummers are always the most fun guest to have on the show. So everybody, please welcome Mr. Daru Jones. How you doing, Daru?
I'm good. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you.
I told you right before we jumped on, man. I love that backdrop, man. That's got such a vibe to it. It's yeah. No, I'm digging it.
Thank you.
So Daru, you were in Nashville, right? I think that's what Doug told me. That's where you live. Is that right?
Yes, I moved to Nashville from Brooklyn, New York.
Wow, man, it is you won't believe how many people I have on the show that live in Nashville now. I mean, from Billy Sheehan, he's a New York guy, moved there. Well, was LA for a long time. Jeff Berlin, you probably know Jennifer Hartswick. Jennifer moved down there recently, and
Yes.
It just seems like almost every other week there's someone else, from that area, man. So something must be happening down there. How do you like living there?
It's gotten better. I'm not gonna lie, it's gotten better. I've been here for almost 6 years now, and when I first came down here, I thought it was going to be one thing, but it was totally the opposite. I had to kind of build from the ground up.
Right.
Although I had a lot of politics working on my behalf, I still had to figure some things out.
Networking wise, you mean, in terms of connecting with folks, you mean?
Yeah, because you have the old heads that's been here. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
when you're coming in from out of town with some politics, sometimes people feel threatened.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But
especially with chops like yours too. Yeah.
Man, I wasn't trying to take nobody's job. I just want to add to the scene. And
yeah,
I remember when I was on a tour with Jack White and one of my bandmates, rest in peace, his name is Ike Owens. He played the organ. We lost him on a tour, but I remember us going to rehearsal one day and it was like, yeah, we should move to Nashville and we should see if Jack would start a soul division through Third Man Records. So we kind of had a plan, you know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, he passed away, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, right.
As I got ready to make my move, but on the flip side, I've been embraced, you know what I'm saying, by the drummers community, certain people, and I'm thankful for the love that's been given. But at the same time, I know it's one of the places where certain cats, they got certain things locked in, and it's like when you come in with a lot of politics and certain people feel, but it's all good. I'm thankful I was able to bring something to the scene, and I'm thankful, I'm able to go back and forth between here and New York, which I feel is great because I can be low key here. Yeah. And then when it's time to go work and get back on that hustle, I can go back to the East Coast. So I'm thankful.
Is it feeling, is Nashville starting to feel a little bit like home a little bit now since you've been there for a little bit?
Well, it was starting to feel like it right before the pandemic. Literally 2019, it was popping. I kind of felt like I found my tribe or my scene, and one of the things that I feel like I brought to the community was playing drums with the DJ. That's something that I would do back in the East Coast, and even before that, even in PA, Vicksburg, and I brought that to the scene, to the community. They had a DJ collective that throws two events, and I brought that idea to both of those situations, and basically was able to rock once a month for one of the events, and then every now and again for another event. But that's one of the things that I could say that I brought to
that's incredible, man. Well, since you kind of mentioned it, and we'll talk about the elephant in the room, you mentioned the word pandemic, and so I always kind of start off the show, how since whatever last 16 17 months, how have you been maintaining, able to be creative and keep your head above water?
That's a good question. It's actually been a blessing that I never stop working.
Yeah.
I continue to work via tracking sessions.
Sure. Yeah.
I got a chance to do a lot of cool sessions. I got a chance to work with an artist by the name of Rag and Bone Man from the UK. Are you familiar with Rag and Bone Man?
I think I know that. That sounds like something I think I've heard before. Yeah. Tell me about it.
Okay, so Rag and Bone Man, he's a huge UK artist, you know what I'm saying? I don't even know how to categorize it. They say pop, but he got soul, you know what I'm saying? He's a soulful guy, but he does, like, I would say it's more world music, you know what I'm saying? But I got a chance literally, it's crazy because they actually got stuck here because they were in we were supposed to do that session, I think, in the middle of March, and I was on tour in the UK in March when the pandemic started.
Oh, literally, wow! So you were across seas when everything went down. It's like in March of that year. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So literally, you know, we you know, I was on tour with Pee Wee Ellis. Pee Wee Ellis played with James Brown.
Yeah, of course, I know. Yep, very much. Yep.
Yeah. So we were on a UK funk tour.
Was Fred doing that too? Wesley, did he do that with that tour?
No. There was this cat Omar. He's a big UK singer. Omar.
Yeah, I know Omar.
China Moses, the daughter of DJ Bridgewater, a good friend of mine. She was the vocalist, and there was a cast of a lot of UK finalists. So we were on tour for a couple of weeks, and I literally missed the tornado that happened in Nashville because I was in the UK.
Oh wow!
And then when I came back to the States, I had to go to New York because I had to. Another project that I was finished wrapping up was a project with Pharoah Munch called Channel 13.
Oh, okay.
13 is a trio project. It's myself, Marcus Machado, the guitarist from New York, and also Pharoah Munch is a legendary 90s MC. So we was wrapping up content for that record. So it's a bunch of recording that I did, amazing. So basically the fruits of those labors that I contributed in 2019, they all came out 2020, 21.
Ah, got it. Okay.
Another project that I was involved in is a project with producer Pete Rock. He's a legendary 90s producer.
Sure, yeah, of course, yeah.
Pete Rock, he has a band called Pete Rock and the Soul Brothers, which I'm the music director. So we had an instrumental record. So I basically recorded, and I actually was flown into New York to do a few live stream things. We did Summer Stage, where it was not filmed in front of an audience, obviously, but it was live stream. And then another show that I did was actually was this SNL with Jack White last year.
Oh, yeah, I remember October.
That. Yeah, but I was flown in for that. So I worked, I recorded and I worked, but
doesn't Alan's brother play with you guys? Didn't he take over on keys? Neil Evans, didn't he play with you guys for a little while?
Well, he did the last tour because I think
the last tour. Okay, got it.
Yeah, he was on the last tour. But for this particular show, it was a trio. It was just me, Dominic Davis, that's been a part of all of the solo records.
Yeah.
And Jack, it was just a trio.
That's great.
But also in the pandemic, I took the time to get some therapy because I had some things I need to work out. And
of course.
Just learn how to cook more and just, you know what I'm saying? I really took the time to go within and try to work some things out. So it's been a blessing and a growing. Also, it was kind of struggle too because I was alone, for most of the time. So I struggled with that. But for the most part, work-wise, everything kept moving.
So were you mostly, like during the pandemic, were you mostly in New York or mostly in Nashville, or was it just kind of a straight combo of both?
It was a straight combo of both, mostly in Nashville, tracking the sessions. But no, it was actually a combination of both.
Yeah.
I don't even know what gave me the go ahead to travel like that, because when the pandemic first started, it was hard body.
I know. Were you driving or were you flying or both?
I was flying.
Oh, you're flying. Wow, that's hardcore. I bet those first few flights, they were probably pretty empty though. I bet, weren't they? The first couple months. Yeah.
They were very empty, and it was crazy. It was just like, wow, I just never seen it like that. But I'm just thankful, that I had the jobs, and I just hustled. I was able to get some stuff done for myself, which I'm still trying to finish some things that I wanted to get done before everything started getting rolling again. But, I think that we trickling back down to kind of, monitoring how we move around again.
Yeah.
Maybe not to the extent of how it was when the pandemic first started, but I'm thankful that I was able to get some things done, but I still I got some other goals that I want to complete, like record, like my own record and some other things. So yeah.
Wow, that's deep. Now I know you obviously you mentioned New York and Nashville, but you're originally born in Michigan, right? Is that correct? I thought I read that somewhere.
Yes, sir. Michigan born. Yes, sir.
Like more like Southern, more like Detroit, kind of Ann Arbor area, or a little bit more
between. My bad.
All good.
Right outside of Detroit.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. And then did you, as a child, I know you were born there, but I mean, did you like spend most of your, growing up years there in that area too as well, like up through school and high school and all that kind of stuff?
Yes, I did. And then right out of high school, I went to New York City. I was a producer, learning how to compose, and that's some really cool opportunities. Um, there was a conference called How Can I Be Down, which was an A&R conference. It was huge in the 90s. And basically all of the labels, EMI, like So Def, Ruthless, all those record labels, they would get together and they would do like they would have a room and basically you would play a demo tape.
Yeah.
They would play like 30 seconds of it and you know, they would critique it and whoever won that, you know, they would get an opportunity to get a record deal. This is actually really cool.
So you had to make sure that first 30 seconds was banging, basically, is what it was. Yeah.
Yo, to make a long story short, me and my sister, and we had one of my older mentors, we had a group called James. And we actually won.
Oh,
we actually won, and we two labels was fighting over us. Gerald Levert from the who was Gerald Levert's band? It was the OJs, but Levert, like from Cleveland.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
Gerald Levert had a label.
Wow.
They had a label, and they were trying to sign us, and then Daddy-O from New York was trying to sign us. We had all these labels trying to sign us, so basically they had us, you know, flying everywhere. And I remember going, because I have family in New York too, but I went out there, and I remember getting to go to Bad Boy Studio, like Daddy's, I forgot what they called it, Daddy's house.
Yeah.
Went to D&D Studios, like
wow.
Sony. And I was just like a, you know, young teenager. Like,
yeah.
This was during the times where they had those big, those contracts where you needed people to read over them. So
right, sure.
We had a representation reading the contracts, and the long story short, they felt like, you know, they were not in our favor.
Right.
But you know what was a cool thing that happened out of that situation? We actually got invited to go to Cleveland, and we actually got in the studio with Levert, and we cut a song. We cut a track.
Now, is he from Cleveland, Levert? Is he from that area?
I think he is.
Wow,
he cut a track. Crazy. The name of the track is called "Don't You Ever Let Go," and I produced it. I produced the track, and at that time, my mentor, he was like the leader of the band. He showed me how to use the Akai S900. With the floppy disk.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so we brought the S900 to the studio with the computer. I think they was using Cakewalk to you know, synchronize.
I forgot about Cakewalk.
Cakewalk. We had the Cakewalk. We had the MIDI, and I literally, you know, I sampled, you know, and I sampled some drums, and Levert wrote a verse. He was so hyped. He called his dad and all his brothers. The studio, it had to be like 27 people in that studio in Cleveland. They were all. He was like bragging on us, like, yeah, this is gonna be. Because you know, in the 90s, when you like the OGs, they wanted to bring out the next new
right,
that
right.
was so big. So we were next. He was like yo, these are gonna be my next cats.
Right.
We cut that track. So that was a cool story that happened out of it. But long story short, that's when I started, you know, making my, you know, my journey outside of you know, Michigan. Yep.
That's great. It brings up so many memories because, you know, when I first started working with Bootsy, you know, a lot of people always think that, you know, he sat around and taught me a bunch of bass stuff, and we talked a little bit of bass stuff, but you know, the main thing he showed me how to do is how to use an Akai MPC 2000. And how to sample. Like, we would sit there hours on that machine, and he'd be like, do it like that, you know, and then leaving, as you know, like leaving a little leader on both sides so you can do the shift on the samples and everything, you know, all those little tricks. And I mean, and I actually, it's sitting right behind me right now. I just picked up one of those MPC ones, the new ones that just came out like during the pandemic.
Yes.
Dude, you know, if you mess around with this, I feel at home again, because that's what I learned on, you know what I mean? So it's great stuff. That's amazing. So, like you moved to New York, and then you know, you're talking a lot about the production stuff. When did you kind of start? Well, let me ask you this: as a drummer, when did you first start like kind of touring and actually start, you know, getting on the road a little bit? Like, what was the first thing you did where you were actually playing kit and like touring a little bit? What was that?
Well, I've done a really cool tour in Paris. When I was like, I forgot how old I was. I was really young, but fast forward like a real tour. I remember. Well, I'm just going to fast forward into the hip hop world.
Yeah.
One of the cool tours that I was on was with a rapper named Black Milk from Detroit, Michigan.
Okay.
Black Milk, he actually used to produce for a group called Slum Village, which I was the drummer in Slum Village, you know, at the Dilla passed away. Now,
yeah.
Are you familiar with Jay Dilla?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so Jay Dilla, his group was called Slum Village, right? He passed away, rest in peace, Dilla. And in 2006, the group, they wanted to turn a new chapter and also, you know, do some shows where it required a band. So I got recommended to be a part of the live band. Same year Dilla passed away in 2006. And I remember doing some shows, they would have Black Milk open up for Slum. I think Black Milk opened up for a couple of shows, and Black Milk was, you know, he was like, man, if I ever got a band, I want to use y'all guys. And we were just a trio.
Yeah.
It was just me and 2 other guys. And anyway, we started playing with Black Milk. And we know.
Was it like keys and bass and drums, something like that? Yeah.
With tracks.
Oh, with tracks. Okay, got it. Yeah.
Tracks.
Yeah.
So we still had the DJ at the time. It was Black's DJ. His name is Hex Murder. Hex Murder at the time, and he was his manager. He was also the DJ. So it was me. Actually, it was just me, the DJ and the keyboard player playing along with tracks. And then it was Black Milk. And then as we progressed, because we did one show and then we went to Europe. And we did all of those festivals, you know, like the Splash Fest, all those summer festivals. So we will be out, we were working. And then I think that next tour, I think that's when he added a bass player because, you know, he wanted to expand on instrumentation.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, I think it's the album that came out 2010 called Album of the Year. I don't know if that was 2010 or 11. Might have been. It was 2010 when the album came out.
Yeah.
But the reason why I want to talk about this is how I met Jack White. So working with Black Milk, we were touring. That album came out, Album of the Year. We touring. And then I think the following year, Black's manager, Hex, said, you know, Jack reached out to them about bringing Black Milk down to do 2 songs because Jack had started doing these 2 songs, like A and B side, 7-inch, I think they were 7-inch. For his record label called Third Man Records.
Right.
And we were one of the first ones, if I'm not mistaken, that did one of those double-sided. So when Black Milk got the opportunity, I think Jack offered to use his Nashville musicians, but Black was like, no, I got my own guys that I tour with. So Black Milk brought us down and basically we had a session at Jack's home recording studio. And the following day we had a performance at Jack's Third Man Records, which is, they have a performance area. Have you been to Third Man Records before?
I haven't, man. I really want to go. I mean, you know, I've heard countless things of that, and that's in Nashville too, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yo, it's so dope. I can't even explain it right now. What it's so much coolness in it. But anyway, they have this performance space. So we do the session with Jack. Boom, that was crazy. We do the performance at Third Man Records, right? And in the set, I have a drum solo on this track called Losing Out. And that's one that I say. That's what I wanted to say. So Jack heard a song from the Album of the Year. I think it's called Deadly Melly. It had a rock and roll sample.
Yeah.
And I think that's the story that I was told. Jack heard that song and got excited. And then that's how Black Milk got the opportunity. That's how he was able to come down to Nashville. We did the session, we did the performance, and then I do this drum solo in Losing Out. And at the end of that song, I heard somebody say, yeah, and I didn't even think nothing about it. But after the show, the DJ at the time that took over, Bill Sharp, he was like, yeah, that was Jack. Jack was that excited, wow. And I knew he was a drummer,
right?
But I just didn't think nothing about it. So I went back to New York, and I think this was in 2011. I went back to New York, and 2 months later, his team reached out to me and said, Jack wanted to know if I would come down to Nashville to record with him and RZA for Wu-Tang Clan.
Wow.
That they were going to do the same thing. So you know, I was so excited. RZA's one of my favorite producers, you know, and a hero of mine. Yeah. Got excited, got on a plane, flew all the way to Nashville, got to the session on Saturday in the studio, got a phone call, and they said RZA canceled the session. RZA couldn't make it. So Jack came in the room, he told us the news, and I was disappointed, like I was heartbroken. But Jack was like, man, I feel bad, I don't want to just send you back to New York. Maybe we can just record some solo stuff. And from what I was told, that's what started Jack White's solo career, because we basically recorded for 2 days in the studio. We did like 4 cuts, and then I went back to New York after those sessions, and in my mind, they brushed to 2011 goes by. I'm like, man, I wonder whatever happened to those songs. Like,
yeah, sure.
I just did the session. I never heard back, anything.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the year and during this time, I had 3 or 4 groups that I was rotating my calendar with. Mm-hmm. So I was booked 6 months to a year in advance.
Yeah.
I was Talib Kweli, the Brooklyn, New York rapper.
Sure,
I was his music director.
Oh.
I was in Black Milk's band. I was playing with Ski Beats and the Sensei. Now, Ski Beats produced Reasonable Doubt, one of Jay-Z's biggest records.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was a part of Ski Beats band, the Senseis, and I was playing with Daisy Joplin. So my schedule was booked. Like, I had dates, but the crazy thing was at the beginning of January, I got 2 of the artists that I worked with, they were inquiring about my availability for like a period of time.
Yeah.
Talib Kweli had just released a record called Gutter Rainbows, and he was wanting to do a tour. Black Milk was inquiring about my availability through South by Southwest. Like, it was going to be like a 30-day run. So I was like trying to figure out which tour I was going to do.
Yeah. That's a nice problem to have, though, right?
Yo, then out of nowhere, I get an email from Jack White's team again. Like, Jack was inquiring about your availability for 3 months to 8 months. I'm like, yo, what is this all about?
Wow.
And then my response to them was, I got a couple tours that I'm trying to decide on which one I want to do. But I was like, can y'all, be more specific? And then Jack emails me directly, and he was like, hey, those songs that you recorded on, those are going to be on my solo project. And I have this concept that I want to tour with 2 bands. I want everybody that contributed to the band, like, it was mostly females that played, so I want to have an all-female band and all male band, and I want you, to be a member of the male band.
Yeah.
And so I had some decisions to make. That was a crazy time.
What year are we talking about right now? What, 2017 or so?
No, 2012.
2012. Oh, okay, got it. Oh, yeah.
We're talking Blunderbuss. We're talking the first solo record came out in 2012.
Wow.
2012. So it was crazy. So to make a long story short, I ended up doing, going with Jack White, of course, and I almost forfeited that because I'm a loyal person. But I ended up, but the crazy thing is, I have to go low key and go missing because they didn't want anybody to know about the projects, and the 2 brands that I was working with had dates, and I couldn't. I had to like go missing.
Oh.
We had rehearsals for like a month, and basically people's first time seeing me with a new person was our first premiere on SNL 2012.
That's incredible.
That's when
man.
Everybody's seeing what I couldn't talk about and what I was
right.
doing. It premiered on TV, and that's when that whole transition happened. Yep.
That's magical, dude. That's incredible. That's great. And then, so is that what like ultimately brought you to Nashville, playing with Jack? Is that like kind of what got you down there? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because he's down. I mean, I know Third Man's down there, but he's down there. He's got a place down there too, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he's down there, and I also, when I started doing when I graduated, I won't say graduate, when I because I wanted to be a genre-bending drummer anyway. Like, not only playing hip hop, I played jazz in my, at a certain point, gospel, Caribbean music, and this was my next phase. And I was like, man, I really want to dive more into this rock and roll and country world.
Yeah.
And after speaking with Ike Owens, we had that plan of coming to Nashville and trying to bring some soul. But I was like, man, this is a whole nother. I started getting some new opportunities.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I bet.
And I was like, I really want to explore this, because like when you go to rock and roll, it's just something. It's just a level. Everybody they say everybody want to be a rock star. I see what they mean,
right?
Because it's like night and day. The difference between this.
Right.
There's levels to this, but when you get into the rock and roll world, it's just a different. It's just the per diems are different.
Yeah.
The luxury is a little bit different. So.
Yeah, I feel you, man. That's incredible, man. That's such a great story. Well, let's kind of semi-zap. I always kind of get towards the end and ask everybody this, and you tour more than just about anybody, or what do you, going into 2022, I know, you know, we're not magicians. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, but just from your gut, talking to other people in the industry, other musicians, other people on the business side, you know, where do you think in 2022 we're going to be with this live music thing? We're going to be back to normal? You think we're still a little ways to getting there, or what's your feeling on that?
It's really hard to tell, because literally, like I don't know what's going on. Like I went out last night, right? Because one of my friends is in town. They play with Nas, and I actually played with Nas before too. But he's on the orchestra, the symphony tour, and we walked downtown Nashville, and we didn't see a mask in sight.
Yeah.
So I mean, we had on masks obviously, but I know everybody's not squared away whether they vax or not. But
right.
People are not. I don't know. I would hope, just to be optimistic, I would hope that we at least be able to go to NAMM next year. Yeah,
well, you heard that they moved NAMM, right? They moved the Anaheim one to what, June, I think, you know? So,
I saw that.
So that means people in the industry are, you know, getting a little cold feet, obviously, about January already. I mean, winter's got me a little nervous. You know, I'm hoping by next spring winter's got me a little nervous, because we have to start shutting all the doors up, you know, and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, I'm hoping, but I'm still seeing some of my comrades out there working.
Yeah.
When I go on people's Instagram, people are touring and doing their thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening in Europe. I haven't been keeping my eye on that, but I know things are getting tight. But in the States wise, musicians been working, and luckily things have gotten a little bit better, finding ways through the technology to still, you know, stream and put your cash apps up, you know, find ways and make, but
yeah, for sure.
It's still, I gotta say, it's not the same having that energy of the audience.
Yeah.
Because as you know, FREEKBASS, we feed up the energy of the people.
For real, yeah.
And I recently played a couple things, and I was just like, the room wasn't filled, and I was like, you don't really realize that how much it impacts your performance.
Yeah.
Although we got to zone out, I was like, dang, I couldn't really get as hyped as I wanted to, because there weren't really no bodies in the spot.
Yeah.
So, but I'm hoping, you know, that, you know, that we'll, you know, figure this out, and I'm thankful that we're still able to at least work.
Yeah.
Whether, you know, we can do session work, but I think right now is where the separating the people that really do this, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the people that are just is a hobby, because really for what we do, it's gotta be down in your heart. It's gotta be deep within. Because when you're not making that money like how you used to make, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you had a lot of people that, because of the internet, they were able to, you know, I won't say overnight be like a celebrity, but some people they didn't have to pay the dues that we paid. We had to pay certain dues where, you know what I'm saying? We had to practice, we had to build our awareness just as a musician.
Yeah.
We got to do all these things so just to be seen, but then people can go on the internet and do something that they the next big thing in no time.
Right.
But I think right now it's really going to challenge people, like whether they really can do this or not, because that's not the case.
Yeah.
If you don't have skills, all the gimmicks, I think the gimmicks are fading away.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it always ends up, you know, I'm still from that school, the cream ultimately raised to the top. You know what I'm saying? Talent is always the bottom line. No matter whatever your talent is, that's still going to be the thing that's going to separate, you know. I mean, you may get a little viral video that may go, you know, viral, you know, for a week or two, you know, but then you got to have something to come. Okay, after that's done, what do you got to do next? You know what I'm saying? So you got to keep it steady. Yeah, for sure. Man, the thing that I'll tell you, Daru, that like, watching you play, man, it's like the feel, and I'm sure this is why so many people are trying, like your feel is like, I mean, I'm always accused of playing a lot behind the beat. That's kind of my feel a little bit. But you play, you got that way behind thing, man. Talk about the NPC, like I'm trying to manipulate grooves. I mean, except you're doing it with your body though. It's like, it's pretty incredible, especially your snare drum, man. When you hit that snare, man, I'm like, love where you hit that snare. And it's just like a certain there's a magic to that, man. It's dope, man. Super.
I appreciate it. I'm thankful. Big respect, FreekBass. You're made already. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thankful to be on this show, and you contributed a lot to the game. But yeah, you know how it is. It's just about getting an identity. And I always tell people, like, you are what you eat. You know what I'm saying? If you listen to a certain thing, it's going to come out in your plan. And I think my plan is definitely, I want to give, shout and praise to everybody that I admire. It's just a tidbit of this person, that person. Yeah. And I definitely know that I have my own thing that I developed, but I got to give praise to, all the other people that's, ain't nothing new under the sun. All we can do is what do they do when they try to, when the dogs mate to like breed? All you can do is try to breed,
right?
Breed something out of what's happened already.
Right, for sure. So
shout out to Clyde Stubblefield, Jabo, you know what I'm saying? People, all those cats. Like I listen to that, so it comes up on my plan. But I think another thing that makes me and us special is how we live. Yeah. We live a certain way and it comes out in our plan. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And we plan from our heart. So I'm always trying to make sure I channel, from the creator above. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I want people to feel.
I'm totally with you. I'll tell you what, man, I was last weekend, I did a thing. There's a really great bass player named Gerald Veasley. He does this thing called Gerald Veasley's Bass Boot Camp in Philadelphia. He's been doing it for, I think this was like the 20th year, and I've done it a few times. So they, this year they kept putting it off. They kept doing a virtual thing on the Zoom, and finally he's like, okay, we're just going to do it, but everybody masked up. Very hardcore about the masking up. It all takes place in one big hotel. But just seeing, of course I was a little anxious being around that many people, at once, even though everybody was masked up and stuff. But I'll tell you what, as soon as all those bass players came, and all levels, this is like, somebody that bought a bass last week all the way to someone that's been playing for 20 years were at this thing. Wow. And you just felt and I told this to Gerald too, that you just felt the people that had, and even the people that just started playing, the beginners that didn't even know how to really play too many notes or anything, the love they had for the music and that instrument, it just took me to a different place, man. It really, music is just such a gift, it really is.
It's a vibration. I agree. I agree. And I think that's important. I think if I didn't have that going, it would be frustrating, because basically what you're seeing now, and I know the OGs have to deal with this too, because of the internet age, you have a lot of people, they see what works for you and they be like, oh, I can do that. Right. So you have a lot of that going on, and sometimes they'll rather pay this person less. You know what I'm saying? Because they're like, yo, play that FreekBass thing. Right. Why not call FreekBass to do the thing? Right. Because he charged this much money. But the thing is, if you want to get that magic and that certain thing, that you gotta, it's going to all come back down to just going back to the source. Yeah. So that's the only thing that's been happening. Is kind of sucks. Is just things get watered down. And I understand we all are inspired, but still got to find ways to try to, get an identity. Because although I was inspired, and I had those eras in my career as a young teenager, like wanting to be like Benny and all my heroes, but I knew at some point I needed to get my own, my own thing. Because I never wanted to meet my heroes one day and they'd be like, yo, you just a knockoff. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was one of the things. So that's why I kept trying to figure out ways. And that's how my drum kit, the angling, that's where that all came from. Yeah. Just me trying to have an identity and voice by me being another one of the elite hip hop drummers outside of Amir Questlove. Shout out to Questlove. Right. I needed to find my own identity, so I won't be like, okay, I'm just, because there's a vocabulary, right, that the person plays, but it's a whole thing. It's your look, it's your touch, it's all these nuances. That's so true. I had to figure things out so I can have my voice, and Yeah, I'm with you on that, man. Well, you've definitely found it, and man, again, thank you so much for being on the show. This is it's great to have you on here, and I hopefully, the next time I see you, maybe hopefully be in person. Maybe making a little bit of music together. That would be wonderful. Yo, didn't we play a show with Doug?
Well, we were at the show. Remember, Doug was playing. We just went to check him out. Remember, he was sitting with that band that he was working with. It was up in Cincinnati, and so. Yep. And so we were just that's where so one of these days we'll have to actually do it for real. Yeah, it's gonna be so funky. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to that, and
I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for what you're doing, you know, for the community.
Oh yeah.
And, keep doing. I like that blockbuster.
Yeah, man, this is the old school right here. You're talking about 90s, man. There it is.
Bro. Y'all know nothing about that blockbuster. Well, you gotta, you know what I'm saying? Gotta rewind them tapes. Gotta rewind them tapes.
Yeah. Well, please be kind. Rewind. Please those stickers. Yeah. All right.
Oh my God.
All right, Daru, man. Well, you stay safe, stay strong, and, you know, keep doing what you're doing. And yeah, like I said, hopefully next time we'll see each other in person. And much love to you and all your family and everybody. All right.
Thank you. God bless. Thanks.